5 minutes ago. Dara and Jung, what really hides behind the glamour? What shocking secrets lie within their daily lives? Join us on Red Carpet Revealed as we uncover the truth and explore their untold story. Starting now! The city of Seoul shimmered with lights that night. Even the neon glow couldn't outshine the couple everyone had come to see. Dara and Jung, the so-called royalty of the entertainment world, had once again stepped into the spotlight, this time at an exclusive gala hosted at the Pearl Tower. Outside, hundreds of fans and reporters clustered along the velvet rope, clutching cameras, phones, and flowers, chanting their names as if to summon them into view. And then they appeared. Dara, ethereal in an ivory gown that floated behind her like a whisper of smoke, eyes framed by perfectly winged eyeliner, lips painted a bold crimson. Jung, beside her, was equally immaculate, a black tuxedo with a subtle sheen, his hair swept back, his expression neutral yet commanding. Together, they moved through the flashes of cameras as if they belonged to another world, their every step choreographed, every glance calibrated for maximum effect. At least, that's what it looked like. To the casual observer, Dara and Jung embodied perfection, the kind of couple that graced magazine covers with headlines like "How Love Survived the Fame" and "Seoul's Golden Pair." They were the dream everyone wanted to believe in, until tonight. Because tonight, just 5 minutes ago, a curtain slipped. It started small, barely noticeable to most. As they entered the hall, he reached out, but not for her hand. Instead, he straightened his own cufflinks. Dara's fingers lingered in the air for a heartbeat before she pulled them back to her side. Her smile never wavered, but her eyes flashed, quick, sharp, dangerous. The photographers didn't catch it, but some did see her jaw tighten, just slightly. Inside, they mingled with the elite. Politicians, business moguls, other celebrities. Champagne flowed like water. Laughter. King glasses. Polite applause. Jung charmed everyone around him with easy smiles, leaning in to whisper something into the ear of a producer's wife, who giggled behind her hand. Dara, across the room, stood near the buffet table, perfectly still. One reporter noticed she hadn't taken a single bite of food, nor sipped her drink. She just watched him. At 9:14 p.m., things began to unravel. One of the event organizers ushered Dara and Jung toward the stage to make a joint speech, something about thanking their fans and endorsing the charity. But as they reached the podium, an unmistakable tension hung between them. He placed a hand on her back, and she stiffened. She stepped to the microphone ahead of him. Voice honeyed but cold as she spoke about how lucky she was to stand beside someone so beloved. The words landed like glass shards. Afterward, they descended from the stage, smiling for cameras, but once out of sight, everything changed. Several reporters, lingering near a side corridor, overheard them. The words weren't loud, but they carried. "You humiliated me," Dara hissed, each syllable laced with venom. "Don't start here," Jung replied coolly, hands in his pockets. "I warned you. Stay away from her," she continued, her voice breaking just slightly. "But you couldn't help yourself, could you?" "You're imagining things," he said. "Don't make a scene." But she already had. Her clutch purse fell from her hand with a sharp snap, scattering lipsticks and keys across the marble floor. She crouched to gather them, fingers trembling. He didn't move to help. Instead, he adjusted his tie and turned his back to her. In that moment, it was clear, the glamour was just that, a performance. Behind it, cracks were spreading. When they finally re-emerged into the main room, cameras once again greeted them. They posed, smiled. But now everyone was watching more closely, looking for what they hadn't seen before. Next day, headlines began to swirl. Dara seen crying alone at gala. Jung caught flirting with mystery woman. Perfect couple? Sources say otherwise. Social media ignited. Fans dissected every photo from the event, zooming in on her clenched fists, his averted eyes. A blurry video surfaced of her rushing to the ladies' room, wiping her eyes with a tissue before emerging minutes later, her makeup hastily repaired. But that was only the beginning. In the days that followed, paparazzi stationed outside their penthouse captured more troubling moments. Jung coming home at dawn. Loose, eyes bloodshot, ignoring questions. Dara leaving hours later with sunglasses hiding her face, a small suitcase in tow. Neighbors began whispering to reporters about loud arguments that bled through the walls late at night, shouting, doors slamming, muffled sobs. One claimed they'd seen Dara curled up on the balcony at 3 a.m., barefoot, her phone glowing in the dark. No one could pinpoint when it all began to sour. Perhaps it was months ago. Perhaps it was always there, hidden behind smiles and camera flashes. Either way, now everyone wanted answers. Anonymous source, allegedly a stylist who worked with them for years, told a magazine, they were never happy. Not really. He's charming in public but cold when no one's watching. And she's tired of pretending. Photos from earlier in their relationship resurfaced, the two laughing on a yacht, holding hands at an airport, whispering to each other during a press conference. Fans clung to these images as proof that whatever was happening now was just a rough patch. But others began to speculate, was it all staged from the start? A carefully curated fantasy to sell albums, movies, endorsements? One evening, outside a small restaurant in Town, a paparazzo caught them together again. But instead of reconciliation, the scene unfolded like a final act of a tragedy. They sat in silence at a corner table, staring at their plates. At one point, she spoke, her voice audible even from the street. I don't even know who you are anymore. He didn't reply. When they left, she walked several steps ahead of him. He stopped briefly to light a cigarette, watching her disappear into the crowd. Later that night, a cryptic post appeared on Dara's social media, even the brightest stars burn out. Fans flooded the comments with messages of support, confusion, and heartbreak. Within hours, Jung Il-woo posted a single sentence on his account, not everything is what it seems. Neither post was deleted, either was clarified. A week later, more leaks emerged, alleged text messages between Dara and a friend, where she confided about feeling trapped and alone even when he's next to me. Another source claimed Jung Il-woo had been seen leaving a hotel with someone who wasn't Dara, though no clear evidence ever surfaced. Meanwhile, they continued to fulfill their obligations, walking red carpets, sitting through interviews, smiling for cameras, but now, everyone scrutinized every move, every glance. In one televised appearance, when asked what kept them strong as a couple, Dara hesitated before answering, you learn to live with imperfections. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Interviewer quickly moved on, but the audience noticed. Everyone noticed. Behind the glitz and the glamour, it was becoming impossible to ignore the truth. Whatever was happening in the shadows was bleeding into the light. And as the curtain closed on that chapter of the night, 5 minutes ago, everyone watching was left with the same question. The fallout wasn't immediate. Like all gray storms, it started with stillness, a tense quiet that settled over the media, the fans, even the couple themselves. Dara and Jung Il-woo retreated behind carefully worded statements and staged appearances. They continued to perform their roles, but something vital had drained from the act. 3 nights after their awkward dinner in Town, they were spotted again. This time outside a luxury apartment complex in Gangnam. Witnesses described the scene as surreal, Dara arriving by taxi, Jung Il-woo already waiting at the entrance. For a moment, they stood facing each other, neither moving. Then, without exchanging a word, walked inside together. It was the last time they were seen in public together for weeks. Behind closed doors, sources say, the facade crumbled entirely. Neighbors heard shouting that lasted late into the night. Staff members reported being dismissed abruptly. One housekeeper later told a tabloid. For anonymity, the place was like a war zone. Broken glass on the floor, was ripped and scattered. They slept in separate rooms. You could feel the tension as soon as you walked in. Social media, however, painted a different picture. Both Dara and Jung Il-woo continued to post carefully curated photos. She in a serene garden, he at a charity event, but eagle-eyed fans noted the absence of each other in their feeds. Where once they tagged each other with hearts and inside jokes, now there was only silence. Speculation reached a fever pitch when Jung Il-woo was photographed at a rooftop party in Busan with a group of friends, and one unidentified woman sitting beside him, leaning in just a little too closely. The photo, grainy and shot from afar, nonetheless ignited a firestorm. Wu cheating trended worldwide within hours. His agency denied the rumors. The woman in the photo is a colleague and close friend. There is no truth to the malicious speculation. Dara, meanwhile, remained publicly quiet. But fans noticed that she liked a cryptic post from another account that read, "You can't heal in the same place that hurt you." A week later, she broke her silence. At a promotional event for a beauty brand, reporters pressed her about the status of her relationship. She paused, adjusting the cuff of her sleeve, then said, "Some things are better left unsaid. But I will say this, you cannot fake happiness forever." Her words sent shockwaves through the room. Even the brand's PR representative looked startled. Cameras flashed as she smiled faintly and walked away. Behind the scenes, however, the drama only escalated. Former driver claimed he had driven Jung Il-woo to a different apartment late at night multiple times, waiting in the car while he disappeared upstairs for hours. Another claimed Dara had once thrown his phone across the room during an argument and it shattered against the wall. Other friends of the couple came forward with conflicting accounts. One said Dara had become increasingly jealous and controlling, demanding to know where he was at all times. Others said Jung Il-woo was emotionally distant, down whenever conflict arose. A particularly damning report came from someone who claimed to have worked security at their building. One night she came running down the stairs barefoot, crying, saying she couldn't take it anymore. He followed her out, grabbed her arm, but she pulled away and got into a cab. Neither of them came back until the next morning. Yet, despite it all, they still appeared in public together 2 weeks later at a film premiere. They posed for photos on the red carpet, stood side by side, even smiled. But the smiles were thin, brittle. As soon as the cameras were off, they moved apart, each engrossed in their own phones, speaking only when necessary. A reporter at the premiere noted, "It was like watching two strangers pretending to know each other." As weeks turned into months, their appearances became fewer and farther between. Industry insiders whispered about contractual obligations that forced them to maintain appearances. Others suggested they were attempting to reconcile privately. Then came the final blow. One morning, tabloids published a series of photos showing Dara leaving what was unmistakably a lawyer's office, her face pale, her hair pulled back tightly, a thick folder clutched in her arms. Later that day, Jung Il-woo was seen at a cafe, head bowed over his phone, looking drawn and weary. Others spoke publicly that week, but their social media accounts did. They posted a black and white photo of an empty chair by a window with the caption, "Sometimes you have to choose yourself." Jung Il-woo, hours later, posted a single word, "Goodbye." The confirmation everyone had been waiting for came quietly in a joint statement from their respective agencies. After careful consideration and mutual respect, Dara and Jung Il-woo have decided to part ways. "We ask for your understanding and privacy during this time." But even then, questions lingered. What exactly happened behind closed doors? Who, if anyone, was truly to blame? Was it jealousy? Betrayal? Simply the inevitable collapse of two people crushed under the weight of their own image? For those who had believed in the illusion of perfection, a sobering reminder that even stars can fall. In the aftermath, friends described both of them as retreating into themselves. Dara reportedly spent time abroad from the media glare, focusing on personal projects. Jung Il-woo threw himself into work, appearing on set daily, refusing interviews. But the scars remained. Fans continued to debate on forums, dissecting every interaction, every word, every photo that might hint at hidden truths. One particularly viral thread compiled every instance of their hands not touching on red carpets, every cold glance, every strained smile, as though the clues had been there all along. And yet, for all the speculation, only two people truly know what happened. Only they know what words were exchanged in whispered arguments, what silences stretched too long in the dark. Love once burned bright enough to blind them both. Even now, whenever either of them appears in public, questions resurface. Are they okay? Do they regret? Did they ever love each other at all? For now, the story remains unfinished. Perhaps it always will be. But one thing is certain, 5 minutes was all it took for the cracks to show, for the perfect illusion to shatter, for the world to see what lay beneath the glamour. And no one who witnessed it will ever